4 months ago, I created the Presidential Commission to Make America Healthy Again.
A wellness revolution has captured the White House.
This movement has become very hot. People are really, I tell you, they're going crazy over MAHA.
Make America Healthy is about tuning into and exposing what's been going on in our foods and in our air and our water quality.
The man leading the movement is Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Never in American history has the federal government taken a position on public health like this.
Kennedy was once Democratic royalty.
My brother Bobby, who managed the campaign.
The son of Robert F. Kennedy and nephew to former President John F. Kennedy. He's now Donald Trump's health secretary.
The United States has worse health than any other developed nation.
Brought together by President Trump's former wife, Marla Maples.
I might have been a little closer friends to each of them that I could, whisper in their ears and try to keep them both understanding the big picture.
Kennedy has a long history of vaccine skepticism.
There's no vaccine that is, safe and effective.
What he is doing, in my view, is laundering the anti-vax movement under this umbrella agenda of making America healthy again.
RFK Jr. was propelled to power by mothers on social media, promoting an alternative wellness lifestyle.
Everyone in the health and wellness niche voted for Trump because of RFK.
America's Health Secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., has brought a radical new approach to healthcare in this country. His followers, the mothers, wellness influencers, and medical freedom activists behind the Make America Healthy Again movement now have a seat at the table. This is the backstory of America's wellness revolution. How far will it go? And who will it really serve? I'm heading to a farm in the North Georgia mountains, just over the border from Tennessee. For the past year, I've been watching an interesting group form online. It's mothers, wellness influencers, and alternative health gurus. It was COVID that brought them together, not just to share recipes and wellness tips, but to wield real political power.
You know what I think is so amazing? The fact that a woman can raise a family, birth babies, take care of her babies, homeschool, provide for her family, garden for her family, homestead for her family, and this work is so fulfilling.
One of them is Erika Nolan. She has more than 200,000 followers on Instagram. She lives on this little piece of paradise with her young family.
Hello. Hello, lovely to meet you.
It's nice to meet you.
Hi, Erika.
Welcome.
Thank you. This is beautiful. So this is Big Mama over here.
Hello.
She's off her nest.
And we've got mac and cheese.
And we've got mac and cheese, yes.
Once a proud city slicker, Erika documents her life here with her husband and 2 children.
Good morning, ladies.
Her content began to take off during COVID.
I shared one reel once on my morning routine and just asked people, what would you do if this was your morning routine? You wake up, you get coffee, feed the baby, get dressed, and do what you're seeing me doing. And that video went viral, and I think because it really sparked that feeling inside others of that's not what my morning routine looks like. My morning routine is crazy, and what am I living for,
Facts are no longer relevant, and you can find facts about whatever you want to believe in.
But there was something else in Erika's content.
Facts no longer matter.
A deep distrust of government, big food, and Big Pharma.
I felt like I was already waking up to a corrupt food system prior to COVID. But it was COVID that really kind of fast-tracked me into looking at every area of my life. So I started sharing my questions, my feelings about the world and what was happening, and that's when all of my social media channels blew up.
What effect do you think COVID had on the MAHA movement?
When people were not allowed to enter restaurants or other public places because they were questioning a vaccine that would normally undergo a 5 to 8 year trial process, it made people wake up to, why is this getting pushed on me? And if this is getting pushed on me, what else do I need to take a look at? What other pharmaceuticals do I need to question?
There has been research that's been done by a lot of international groups. The Lancet, for example, says things like 14 million lives were saved by this vaccination program. When you hear these facts, do you accept these?
I don't think it's healthy for anyone to accept facts on the fact alone, because you can find data to support whatever you want to believe in. What matters is who funded that data and who else is connected to that information, because everything can be manipulated now. All right, quick little selfie. Oh, we got some ladies in here. Oh, it's okay.
A powerful political figure was paying close attention to these online conversations. How did you first become aware of Robert F. Kennedy Jr.?
He was aware of regenerative agriculture, which is a huge part of my life. He was aware that things like food dyes and seed oils were toxic, and seeing him speak on those same topics, which really excited me.
When RFK Jr. joined forces with President Trump, what did you think?
I was so excited. I mean, it was like dancing Erika in the kitchen, you know, because it really started to feel like there was a good chance of something great happening.
Do you think it was RFK Jr. and the MAHA movement that helped to win this election?
100%.
Really?
100%.
To understand the origins of the Make America Healthy Again movement, I've come here to Palm Beach, Florida. It's the alternative home of President Donald Trump. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here to meet his former wife, Marla Maples. Marla Maples married Donald Trump at New York's Plaza Hotel in 1993. They had a daughter, Tiffany, before the marriage officially ended in 1999. But Marla stayed in the spotlight. Over the years, she's had a career as an actress, a reality TV star, and a radio host.
Hello.
And she was central to the birth of MAHA. So Marla, is this a normal part of your day-to-day routine?
I try to train with Vaughn at least 2 times a week. I love to get up first thing in the morning and just clean and wash my hands and put drops in my eyes, and then I go do a meditation. Sometimes I'll pop on, it's a PMF blanket that I have called the Beamer, and I'll do 8 minutes on that. It really helps with the muscles and getting energy into your field. And then I'll make like a green tea matcha or organic superfood coffee, and then head to meet Vaughn, or head to Pilates, or head to play a match, and then get to work. Yeah.
How would you describe the state of America's health?
Oh, we have a lot of work to do. It's a big, big issue for our country. People have just lost touch with really the power that they have within themselves to eat right, to exercise, to meditate, to check the labels on their food, and to be conscious about what they put in their body and the environment that they are around.
And what are you seeing around you? How have things changed over the last few years?
Well, we've just watched so much cancer, of course, in the last 20, 30 years, of course, and then more Parkinson's, more Alzheimer's, which is at a high, chronic disease for children, which is really it should never have to happen. Our children are born as these beautiful, delightful beings that come in with everything, right? And we're slowly been poisoning our people, and we see it in the young, innocent children that are just sponges for whatever they're exposed to. And so we hope to educate people and do all we can to stop the toxicity and poisoning in our food and in our environment.
This year, Marla Maples co-founded an organisation called the Global Wellness Forum. One of its goals is to support the work of her longtime friend, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
I met him probably 20 years ago, and he was doing a lot with keeping the rivers and the water clean, and I thought that was one of the most important things we could do. I was also friendly with John F. Kennedy Jr.
Marla knew Kennedy and her former husband could form a powerful alliance. You were instrumental in bringing RFK Jr. over to President Trump's team. Can you tell me about how that happened?
Well, I think just through the years of having conversations with each of them about the others, and it's just a conversation that started, and then we saw so many other people in the freedom health movement were praying that this would happen. So I might have been a little closer friends to each of them, that I could, whisper in their ears and try to keep them both understanding the big picture.
Because I understand one of the key moments in this was the assassination attempt on President Trump last year. What impact do you think that had?
The second phone call I received when there was an assassination attempt on my daughter's father was Bobby Kennedy Jr. He reached out and he says, I need to get a message to the president. And he says, can you do that? I said, of course I can. I'm in Alaska, but I will get it there, or get it to Tiffany and she will share it with her father.
Yeah. Do you think it was that moment that made RFK Jr. decide that he wanted to come and support President Trump?
I think that moment was probably a good trigger, yeah. He was on a plane the next day. Yeah, they were together meeting the next day.
What do you think it is about the MAHA movement that appealed to President Trump?
I think he just saw something that was getting so big, right? But I think, I can't speak for him, but I think he was watching what Bobby was saying also, and watching people react. And of course, a lot of things Bobby was saying were things that I was saying 25, 30 years ago. So we already planted seeds there, right? He still likes his McDonald's. But he's doing better with the eating. I'm like, yep, he's doing better now. When you're exposed to this community of like-minded souls, people, Bobby and the team and all of us around it, it's like, okay, you gonna get with this program?
There's no doubt America is in a health crisis. The question is, what to do about it? Almost half the adult population is now considered obese, and 6 out of every 10 Americans suffer from chronic disease. Right across America, fast food is everywhere. It's cheap, it's always available, and it's popular. About 40% of Americans consume it every single day.
A move from Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. could have you checking your pantry right now.
As Health Secretary, RFK Jr. wasted no time in pressuring the states to target artificial food dyes.
We're going to get rid of the dyes, then one by one, we're going to get rid of every ingredient and additive.
Next were soft drinks funded through food stamps.
States can now stop people from using federal food assistance to buy soft drinks.
Then it was the fast food industry.
Seed oil is one of the components of processed foods, and all the science indicates that ultra-processed foods are the principal culprit.
At the same time, and in line with the Trump administration's purge of federal government workers, he announced cuts of thousands of jobs in his own health department.
The entire federal workforce is downsizing now, so this will be a painful period for HHS.
Kennedy's messaging was welcomed by the MAHA mums and wellness warriors.
Do you want more of the history on that?
But those promoting evidence-based science were dubious.
Because it's not swapping food dyes and Fruit Loops or using beef tallow in French fries.
People like Dr Jessica Knurick. She's a nutrition scientist and a dietitian with nearly 1 million Instagram followers. And she's taking on the MAHA movement, one claim at a time.
Hello. How are you, Jessica?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks so much for coming. This whole goal that RFK Jr. has to make America healthy again is an important one. What do you think about the approach that they're taking to do that?
Their approach really has been to focus on very specific things, very like easy to understand specific things that play into a real conspiratorial message, right? So food additives and food dyes and toxic seed oils and things like that, that kind of play into this distrust that Americans have in health institutions, in science, and scientists, and it's a real distraction from kind of the systemic issues in America that actually have led to these health issues. You know, if I made a list of like 1 through 10 things of what's going to be most impactful on our public health, you know, those things would be at the very bottom.
Why are Americans so unwell and unhealthy?
Our food environment right now is, if you look at the data, it's about 70% ultra-processed food. And we have, you know, a food environment where a lot of people live in what we term food deserts, where it's very difficult to have access to fresh produce, fresh fruits and vegetables. And the reason is because it goes back to our food system. And our food system really is built for corporate profits and not for people's health.
Jessica Knurick says making fresh food affordable and available would be more useful, especially to poorer communities where chronic disease rates are higher. But she's yet to see any policies on that.
The MAHA movement is very much a movement that seems to be for middle to upper class white people in this country, which is also one of my issues with it. So it sells a lot of solutions, talks a lot about supplements, it talks a lot about personal health. And even, let's talk about the food dye thing, right? If you live in a food desert, is the fact that they use red dye 40 in Skittles instead of beet juice really the biggest issue for you? No, right? You need to learn what does good nutrition look like. You certainly don't need a $70 supplement.
Welcome to Sticking to the Truth with Juleen Jackson and Debbie Jansen. We are 2 motor mouth mamas, and we're finding out the truth, right?
In the leafy suburbs of northern Washington, D.C., a podcast recording is underway.
Today's show is a challenge for Juleen because she's going to try to change my eating habits, and that's a good thing because I was raised in the South where fried chicken, mashed potatoes, and peach cobbler was its own food group, okay? And
Juleen Jackson and co-host Debbie Jansen are pushing the MAHA message.
Juleen is truly a MAHA mama. She is on the ball with all of this, so I can't wait to find out what you can teach me today.
I mean, it's like walking through the Garden of Eden, eating a salad like that every day.
Juleen Jackson's podcast is just one of her many hats.
One nation under God.
She's a leading voice in the conservative group Mums for America. And she was one of the very few invited to a private meeting with RFK Jr. on how to deliver the MAHA agenda.
The thing that I found really fascinating is he wants to hear from mothers. He calls them listening sessions, and he's going to have them all around the country. And it's really just moms in the community, their worries, their concerns. And, you know, some of the moms that were at the first meeting were moms that had had sick children, and they weren't pleased with the medical recommendations of doctors. And so they researched it out on their own and were able to heal their children.
I absolutely love what's happening right now in America with RFK Jr., with vaccines, and with our food.
Like RFK Jr. and many in the MAHA movement, Juleen places no trust in the extensive scientific research proving the safety of childhood vaccines.
I just really admire his courage to make this known.
I've lived long enough to see studies can be manipulated for various reasons. And so if you're looking to verify or to confirm something, you can find a study, you know, that will validate your feelings. So you have to go a little bit deeper than that.
What do you think the reason is then that scientists all over the world would not be speaking honestly or finding and reporting on any kind of link?
Oh, well, most obviously, you know, the pharmaceutical industry, the drug industry is a billion, maybe trillion-dollar industry. So it certainly wouldn't behoove them to say that injuries could come from their vaccines.
What if you're wrong?
I have lived the MAHA movement for the last decade. I am healthier now at 57 than I was at 47. So I actually have more confidence in getting proper rest and meditation and doing yoga and eating a whole food, plant-based lifestyle than I do in medications and shots and over-the-counter remedies and even the therapist or the counselor, because I feel better than I have in the last decade living these MAHA practices.
The incredibly contagious measles virus. More cases are now reported around
New numbers show the measles virus spreading like wildfire.
RFK Jr.'s first crisis as health secretary was a measles outbreak in Texas, which quickly spread to other states.
The country's deadly measles outbreak is getting worse.
Measles is now in at least 6 states.
It's the country's worst outbreak in 30 years.
A school-aged child is now the first U.S. measles death in a decade.
It took more than 2 months and the deaths of 2 unvaccinated children before Kennedy said on social media that the most effective way to prevent the measles is to get the MMR vaccine. At the same time, he was promoting vitamin A as an effective treatment.
We're delivering vitamin A, and they're getting very, very good results, they report.
Childhood vaccination rates in America have been falling since COVID. And that's got doctors like Annie Andrews very worried.
I mean, as a pediatrician and a mom of my own 3 children, it's incredibly distressing and frustrating because what's happening is they are really capitalizing on well-meaning parents' concerns about the health of America's children and using that fear and anxiety amongst parents in their own political games.
Dr. Andrews is a pediatrician who will run for the Democrats in next year's midterm elections. Health is her #1 agenda.
Secretary Kennedy's first test on vaccines has come with the current measles outbreak that began in Texas. How do you think he's handled it?
It's been incredibly disappointing to see the way he's handled it because he has the biggest platform of all of us. And he had an incredible opportunity to damper distrust in vaccines in the face of this measles outbreak, which is a true public health crisis. He had an opportunity to go on TV and unequivocally say, we recommend you vaccinate your children. Measles vaccines are safe and effective. And while he's sort of played word salad and said some things around that, he has not said it unequivocally. He says it in the same breath that he recommends cod liver oil, which is high in vitamin A. I mean, we've seen children with toxic levels of vitamin A in Texas because of this misinformation and blatant disinformation coming from our Secretary of Health and Human Services.
Last month, Kennedy sacked all members of a key immunisation advisory panel and then appointed several vaccine critics to the group.
What he is doing, in my view, is laundering the anti-vax movement under this umbrella agenda of making America healthy again. And ironically, not vaccinating is going to make our communities and Americans a lot less healthy.
We have to recognize we are doing this to our children.
RFK Jr. has previously linked childhood vaccines with autism, despite there being no scientific evidence to prove it. In April, he announced he would determine the cause of autism by September this year.
We've launched a massive testing and research effort that's going to involve hundreds of scientists from around the world. By September, we will know what has caused the autism epidemic.
So you think you're going to have a pretty good idea, huh?
We will know by September.
Is that possible in your view?
No. And I think it's also really important to say that there are incredibly smart scientists who have been studying the origins of autism for decades, and we've learned a lot. The last thing that we need right now is for someone who is not a serious person, not a scientist, someone who thinks they can play Bill Nye the Science Guy and say we're going to find an answer by September. That is just diverting resources. That's diverting focus. They've already shut down a lot of NIH-funded research. They're going to shift money from actual research in autism to answer an already answered question about the link between autism and vaccines. We know the answer to that question. There is no link between vaccines and autism. So what he's doing is creating chaos.
Do you think there's been a failure by the Democrat Party, though, to take in voters that traditionally would be considered left-leaning, to really speak to them and listen to their concerns?
There's a lot of things that people in the MAHA movement align with the Democrats on, but we were dismissive. We were dismissive of their concerns. We talked down to people. We think if we show up with our data and our charts and explain things better, that people will listen. But that's not how you talk to people. You have to meet them where they are. You have to listen to their concerns. You have to be open to adjusting your position, not what you know to be right or wrong, but how you approach an issue.
I've got 18 chickens, 15 ducks, and then a pair of geese.
Oh my goodness.
They all get along? Yeah, for the most part. There's always some sort of drama, though.
In rural Virginia, I'm meeting a wellness influencer who's worried about the MAHA movement.
Hormone balance tea with some lemon balm and mint added to it. Kefir.
Becca Tanner has more than 55,000 followers on Instagram. She says MAHA has divided her community.
Before the pandemic, it was all very liberal hippies into health and wellness and stuff like that. And after COVID, there seems to have been this shift towards now so many people who are in the health and wellness community are very right-leaning.
How did you feel when RFK Jr. joined President Trump's team?
Betrayed. I felt, because he was a lifelong Democrat, and I feel like he shared a lot of views that just don't line up with the Republican Party in general. It was very interesting online, kind of watching all of it. Like, I have friends on both sides of the political spectrum just through creating content. And it was like some people were cheering and so excited, and a bunch of other people were like, the world is burning.
What are the things about the Make America Healthy Again movement that concern you?
Like, cleaning up our food in America is going to require more regulation. And so I'm just not understanding how we're going to clean up our food through regulation in an administration that ran on deregulation.
An hour outside Palm Beach, Marla Maples and her global wellness colleagues have gathered at this regenerative farm.
Feel the energy. First of all, you have the transcendence, you have the sun going down, where the world is just opening up to new things, I believe.
Farms like this make up a tiny percentage of America's agricultural industry.
We want to bring people into this way of farming, and it shouldn't cost more, right? Because you're actually giving back. And you're not using all the harmful pesticides. You're not using the growth hormones. They're growing the way they're meant to grow, the way nature created them.
Many of the people here are part of RFK's inner circle.
I just thank you for all of our team here that are working so diligently around the clock. Amen. That need to be on this ranch right now, filling the earth and doing some cartwheels out here in the grass. Right?
What was once a fringe movement is now at the center of power.
Now is the moment, because now we're seeing the truth. A lot was hidden from us for many, many years. And now people are asking the questions, and they're digging deeper, and it's a time of unveiling. It's the time that we see what's really happening in our world. We say, make yourself healthy again.
But this is not a factory bird. They have fresh air, the wind, everything. They're eating the bugs, they're scratching.